Good afternoon, students. So this afternoon, you guys are going to be working on two things. And you can see right on the agenda. First would be to finish up with the infographics, which you were working on in class. And again, each one of you needs to have 3 of them created. And the last step of that assignment was to save your work as a JPEG file. So we're going to be picking up with that for what you're working on today. This second assignment, developing page content for the web, is actually a group assignment. However, each of you need to do the step here, which I'm going to be demonstrating in a little video. Okay, so I'm going to read through this with you. For this assignment, you guys together are going to work on laying out your information that you've been gathering, which was your website activities, as well as your infographics. Okay, and again, this is asking for 3, but it would be great if you can do more. But you're going to be laying those out into an HTML page. Now, I made your lives a lot easier by making a page for you. And you're going to see this linked in right here. You're going to download that, and it's going to open up onto it's an HTML document. So you'll download that, and then you're going to actually open it up in TextEdit so that you can work on the file, and then in Safari so you can see what the page looks like as you update the content. Okay, now I'm just going to show you the little preview in Canvas of what this page looks like. So this is the page, and you can see that there's things that you're going to need to be filling in. Okay, so at the top the header is welcome to the, and whatever your page is. So if it's the teacher page, the clubs page, the about RCHS page, you're just going to fill that in. And then you're going to write one sentence to define the content of the page. And then in this gray area, you're going to come up with a heading and write a paragraph that outlines the information you have gathered. Okay, so this is somewhat open to interpretation based upon what you're doing. You should take a look at the existing RCHS website to see what some of the pages look like. There's paragraphs of text, and then there's information that's presented in tables and things like that. So what you're going to be working on with this page is this opening section. You're going to present your information that you've gathered in table format, and I've created a very basic table. You will see the code for how this was done, and if you need to add a column or a row, you can do that. I think you guys will be able to figure this out using the code that you've learned. And then this is the last section, which we're going to actually start with. You're going to be placing your icons that you've created into this section of 3 images. Okay, and the code has all the code written for writing images. You will recall doing this when you made your personal website, for those of you who were in the class at that point. And again, you're working with a group, so for those of you who this is brand new, you're going to be sitting alongside of somebody who's done this before so that you get this experience as well. So we're going to be placing a minimum of 3 images. You will see how these are stacked. You can add more, but a minimum of 3 of your icons into this section. You're going to need to make sure your images are saved into the same folder on as your web page, and that the spelling of your images is your specific when you put that into the code. Okay, and then we're going to be setting up the image width and height in Photoshop to make sure it's exactly like this. So that's what I want to show you next. Okay, so here is the step-by-step instruction for working with your images. You're going to open up your JPEG file and save it to your RCHS website folder, which the first section tells you to create. And then you're going to be using a tool called the crop tool in Photoshop to make 3 individual files of your icons and save them each to that same folder where your HTML page is, following the steps below. Okay, we're going to set up the cropping dimensions to 200 by 300 pixels per inch, and then you're going to save each file with a unique file name as a JPEG file to your RCHS website file folder, and then go back and do that 2 more times, or however many icons you plan to create. Okay, so let's take a look at Photoshop. And so I have the document open, which just has my example. I'm going to do this example once to show you how to crop and how to save the file. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of things. And the first is we're going to go to the image menu, and we're going to select image size. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can see image at the top in this video, but it's the image menu in Photoshop. We're going to choose image size. And we're going to change from inches, which it was originally, to pixels. Okay, that's the very first step. That's very important for what we're going to do next. Okay, you'll notice the resolution is already set to 72, which is the resolution quality for the web. So we're going to click OK. All right, next we're going to get the crop tool, and we are going to set up a new preset for cropping. Okay, and so I'm going to click New Crop Preset, and I'm going to call this Icons. Okay, and I'm going to set up in these two boxes the dimensions that we said earlier. So 200 by 300. Okay, and then we're going to use that dimension and we're going to scale it. Okay, so I'm going to scale this up to fit around my icon, kind of neatly cropped. Give yourself a little bit of space or margin on either side of the text. You can move it with the Move tool to get it exactly where you want it so it looks really nice and centered. And you want them to look very consistent when you do this. Okay, we're going to hit Enter to crop it. Oh, hold on. Enter to crop it. Okay, we're going to go File and Save As. We're going to call this Icon 1 as a JPEG, and remember it's in the RCHS webpage folder, and save. And then we're going to go Edit, Step Backwards, okay, in order to go back to our document. Okay, and you're going to repeat those same steps for your remaining icons until you have your icons all saved into that same folder that you've created for the RCHS webpage. So you should see icon 1, icon 2, icon 3, icon 4, icon 5, etc. I'd suggested to you to put this one in here. Now, when you go back to the web page, you're going to be naming those in the web page when you place these in. Those of you who've done this before will recall that you're going to need to use the exact file name. So it would be icon1.jpg, icon2.jpg, icon3.jpg, and the dimensions should already show 200 by 300 pixels. Okay, so that's what you're working on today. Once you finish up with the icons, you're going to go to the next step, which is what I explained at the beginning, the other things you're going to be working on. If you need any further help, I would go to w3schools.com for reference or tutorials on doing any kind of code work in HTML. Okay, you'll be working on this in class today as well as tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow.